I love Sean DeLuca. Did I ever mention that?
I would totes swim in Jell-O. Eraser Room!
Woo,
Welcome
woo,
back,
woo.
Eraser Room. We've missed you.
We have missed you so much. Hello and welcome to Pass the Hot Sauce, a Roswell podcast. I am Aliza Ora.
And I'm LaRena Rose.
We're here to talk about every episode of the 1999 WB series Roswell, one episode at a time and spoiler-free. Today we're discussing Season 2, Episode 16, Heart of Mine.
According to the IMDb description, this is the one where the prom is approaching fast and our Roswellian friends are extremely excited, each looking forward to it for different reasons. Liz is going to ask Max to go with her, but her night ends up very differently to the way she hoped it would. Maria wants Michael to go with her, but suspects he's having an affair. Kyle finally decides to tell Tess how he feels about her, only to discover that he was confused about his own feelings. Isabel finally, quote, sees Alex.
That's one way of saying it.
Yeah.
Sees him, doesn't listen to him or respect his wishes. You know,
whatever.
Tomato, tomato.
Yep. And this episode originally aired on April 16th, 2001. It was written by Jason Katims, the showrunner, and was directed by Lawrence Trilling, who has, I believe this is the only episode of Roswell he directed, but he has produced, executive produced, and directed for a variety of shows I've actually seen. So I'm going to list them off. I have seen the WB's Felicity. I have seen Alias with a very young Jennifer Garner. I have seen Pushing Daisies. Mm-hmm. A show that he worked a lot on that I have not seen is Parenthood, but I hear it's good. So maybe I'll watch it
also a Jason
someday.
Katims show.
That's right, it is.
Mm-hmm.
And then guest stars for this episode, Juanita, the dance instructor, is played by, I don't know if it's Mia or Maya. I don't know the pronunciation. Mia Michaels. And I had to note her because even though she has no lines and we only see a little flash of her, Aliza, she was in an episode of ER.
Of course she was. The second you said my name, I was like, oh my God, it's going to be ER.
Yep. It was an episode called First Snowfall. I don't know if that rings a bell of what episode it is.
Yeah, I don't know. There are many episodes of ER. But it's funny because, you know, it's just because I like ER that we're like, oh, this person's on ER, this person's on ER. Like, it very well could be like Law and Order SVU. And then it would be
another
every guest
show
star.
that
Oh, they were on
everybody's
Law and
been
Order.
on.
They were on Law and Order. You know, it's just, they're both just like those shows that like everyone goes on at some point.
Yeah. Oh, and another guest star in this episode is, I think they say his last name is Malamud, the douchey varsity guy that Kyle talks to. I'm assuming that's his last name.
Malamud?
Yeah. So that he is played by an actor named Taran Killam, who has some interesting credits to me, particularly that for 6 or 7 years he was a background actor on SNL. So that's pretty cool. Not an SNL cast member, but you know they have a variety of people that they use as like background actors for all those sketches where they need like sketches where they need a bunch of extra people who maybe even have a line or two but aren't really like an integral part of the sketch. And he also in 2020, so sometime during the pandemic, was the narrator for a short film called Nina the Vampire Slayer. Couldn't really find any information about it other than that it exists and he was the narrator, but that's a thing.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
He also, you know, now that I'm looking him up, like, as an adult, it's like, oh, yeah, I totally recognize this guy.
Mm-hmm. So we have this weird cold open situation. I'm going to call it a cold open because that's, like, how they start Saturday Night Live. And it is. Yeah. It's, like, totally unconnected to the rest of the episode. We have this Maria in front of the chalkboard situation again, where she breaks the fourth wall. She talks directly to the audience to catch us up on the goings-on of Roswell, but she is Maria, not Mahandra. And I don't like it.
She is in character, and it's weird.
It's so
because
weird.
Why is Maria acknowledging that there's an audience?
Yeah. Just give us a previously on.
Also,
it's fine.
Like, what is this? Like, it's an awesome dress, but it's also, like, it's, like, 60s,
yes,
70s.
She has a lot of weird vintage clothes this season.
Yeah.
She has had a very 70s, 60s, 70s vintage vibe this year.
And this dress, like, I think took it a little too far. This crossed a little bit of a vintage clothes line for me, but not a vintage clothesline, but it crossed a line.
Of vintage clothes.
Yeah. I also, as weird as this whole cold open thing is, I do feel like it was necessary, or like at least helpful, because there were a bunch of things.
Previously on. It's just a previously on that Maria is narrating.
Okay, yes. Yes. So we did need a previously on. It didn't have to be a weird fourth wall cold open thing.
And the thing that makes this even weirder to me, that they have chosen to continue this thing with Maria, is that then the episode opens with Liz going back to her diary, which is something that we have not seen in a long time, which is also a way that they can utilize to give us backstory
or exposition,
instead of a previously on, and they have done both, and I don't like either.
Right. At least like the, cheesy Liz's diary, scientific journal voiceover is, like nostalgic and it's familiar, but like this Maria thing is out of nowhere. And, it was a bold choice that they were making. It was just a bad one.
Yeah.
Bold
choices aren't always right.
Yeah.
But they tried.
So yeah. Voiceover Liz. She's back.
She's back. She's been gone for a year, according to her. And I'm wondering, I did not have a chance to go back and actually check when was the last time we did have a Liz voiceover.
Oh, yeah.
I felt like it was earlier in season 1, but maybe I do kind of remember them revisiting that idea later in the season. So maybe it has been about a year.
Yeah, maybe.
And we see this imagery of Liz dancing on, to me, what looks like a fancy, dance floor or, theater stage or something.
Mm-hmm.
And she's talking about Liz things and how her brain works and how she's discovering things in her scientific way while
Liz
she
things.
dances.
And this is where the digs at Sean begin.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are digs at Sean throughout this entire episode.
Yeah. I don't know why he puts up with it.
I don't either. I don't know, what he did to deserve it. In fact, I know that he didn't.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm just going to stand up right now and say I am all for Sean DeLuca. I love him. He's so cute. And, she says in this opening here, she's like, something about him being the least deep guy in America. It's like, who knew, a really deep thing would come from the least deep guy in America? It's like, who says he's the least deep? He's been through some shit.
Yeah.
What about the writing in Mustard? That wasn't not deep.
It was kind of hokey, but...
It's hokey, sure, but, he, has come up with coping strategies with all the tough shit he's been through.
Yeah,
I don't know.
That's true. And then the episode more or less opens after our multiple weird, expositions and previously ons. We're in Sean's car, and Liz is hanging out with Sean for some reason. It
looks like it's a date.
It does almost kind of seem like it's a date. And here's my note for this scene. This whole scene is just one big cliche. I feel like everything that comes out of both of their mouths is just so cliche. I think you're a really nice guy. You make me feel things. Blah, blah. It's just all so cliche.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Right down to him. I mean, she's definitely giving him signs. And then him, she says something else that, gives the impression that she is interested in more, even though you're a really nice guy is something you always tell somebody before you're about to break up with them or tell them that you're not interested. So there's so many mixed signals.
The way she said it, I wouldn't have necessarily been oh, she's about to let him down. She was I don't care what anyone else says. I think you're a good guy.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, it's all so cliche.
And also because when she told Maria about the kiss, she told her, she was I was just trying to let him down easy, and then he kissed me. And it's I didn't see you trying to let him down easy. I saw you saying good night. Bye, Sean, good night.
And then lingering.
Yeah. Good night at the
lingering.
end of a date is like often when a kiss happens.
Yeah. And
So,
if
like,
you linger and don't say good night and get out of the car.
and then open the door and get out.
Yeah. And then she's definitely kissing him back.
Absolutely. Which, like, she does kind of admit to Maria.
Oh, yeah. I mean, by not saying anything, she admits to Maria.
Oh, yeah. And Maria absolutely got that. Like,
Yeah.
ooh.
But the end of this scene is what starts for me, even though this is not one of my favorite episodes. I think Shiri has some really wonderful acting moments in this episode. So does Mahandra later on, but just when she does break away from the kiss and turns away, she has this sad, tearful look on her face, and it just breaks my heart because life is complicated sometimes. It's not easy. Like, you can have feelings for this person and still not be over another person, and that can feel complicated and painful. Even if you feel like you've lost somebody, your heart isn't necessarily ready to move on. And Shiri's face in that moment, it just, like, takes my heart out and, like, rips it up into little pieces.
Oh. Yeah. No, you're so right. Her face acting. I know exactly the facial expression you're talking about. It was really, it like said it all. And I feel like it said so many things also, because I feel like another one of the like things that I took from her looking, her discomfort in that moment was also, everything that you said of like her own feelings and like, what am I doing? I still have feelings for Max, but then also maybe also her being like, what am I doing? Like, leading him on, like I was kissing him back, and like that's not fair to him, of like I'm making this guy think I like him and I don't.
Yeah.
Or whatever
or I don't want to let myself like him. And do I like him? I can't like him. I love Max. There's so much going on in Liz's imaginary brain, and Shiri is doing a great job of showing all of that without even saying anything.
Yeah, she's great. It was really good. So, Dido, take it away.
Yeah, girl.
And then our obligatory bathroom telling your best friend that you kissed her cousin, that old tale.
No big deal. I just made out with, he kissed me. I didn't want him to, but you didn't want him to, right? Oh, maybe I wanted him to.
Also, a little homage to the Latina in Majadra Delfino.
Kick him in the huevos.
Yeah. Just like a swift kick to the huevos.
Yeah.
And you could tell listening to it that she actually speaks Spanish. She's not like a white girl being like huevos.
Yeah.
Huevos.
Like me saying that word?
Well, because you don't speak Spanish. There's nothing wrong with pronouncing it that way. It's just that she speaks Spanish. It's always nice to hear her speak Spanish. So not only, may I say, did Liz kiss him back, but it looked like a decent kiss.
Yeah. It was not a little peck back. She was into it for a few seconds.
For sure.
And Liz is talking here about how she spent 2 years of her life back and forth with Max, and I am not a dreamer, and I just say it's time to cut the damn cord, Liz, and move on.
Yep. Which I think, she is maybe kind of realizing.
Yeah.
Or, trying to make herself realize.
Yeah.
But we'll get to that, obviously. That comes later. But first, in the hallway, Max is telling Michael about how he is remembering more stuff from their planet, which I think at this point we know that it's called Antar.
Yeah.
And fucking Michael, his first question is, what are the chicks like? and then a split second later is ephemeral, transient, blah, blah, blah. Of course, I know what ephemeral means. I'm living it.
Yeah.
It's he goes from being a typical teenage boy to a literary genius.
From one spectrum to the other.
I know. And that's what's so great about Michael,
Yeah.
He is all of these things at once.
And we see that in him more throughout this episode, that he is sometimes very unexpected and very caring when we think that he's kind of callous and cold-hearted. And I mean, that's why I love him so much.
I know. It's you just can't get enough of him.
Yeah.
And and that's the thing we're seeing more in this season in general. We just saw it in Viva Las Vegas with him being oh, I'm going to go to get a cheeseburger. And, seemingly being an asshole when really he was, doing that sweet thing for Maria.
Yeah.
So It seems like more and more he's like kind of growing up and doing loving things for the people around him.
Yeah.
Specifically Maria. And sad little Isabel.
Ugh,
spying on people in the library.
Yeah, totally just spying on other students. She's overhearing a little bit of a promposal and like leaning in and looking through the books, like little spy
and she's, like,
time.
Smiling for them.
Yeah. Oh, poor Izzy. No date, no boyfriend. Hottest girl in school, has nobody to love.
This conversation in the hallway in this next scene between Maria and Michael cracks me up. Like it's sad, but also Maria cracks me up because he's like, I don't believe in proms. Like, it's unnatural. And her response is to be like, well, I think it's unnatural that you're half alien warrior and half Grandpa Dupree.
But I still go with it, dude.
Yeah. She's like, but you don't see me complaining.
Yes. And then also Maria says something about prom being one of the 5 greatest nights of a girl's life. And I don't remember feeling this way about prom or dances in general, even when I was in high school, when everything does feel like life or death and everything feels so important. Even at that age, I didn't think that that was going to be one of the most important nights of my life. But, you know, that's fine.
I found prom, and I went to like a few proms.
Me too.
You know, because we had like junior prom, senior prom, and I like went with a friend to her prom, but it was just all underwhelming. Yeah. You know, all these shows and stuff make it seem like it's going to be like a magical night, and like it's just a dance.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But prom leads Maria and Michael to be fighting and snippy with each other as usual. Yeah. Throwing the tension high for those two.
Like, fine then, we'll see other people. Yeah. Fine. Yeah. And they just like go off in their separate ways.
Yeah. From 0 to break up in 3.5 seconds. Like, yeah. And then now, like, you know, right off the bat, pretty early in the episode is when we get introduced to this D-bag, what's his name? Malamud. Mm-hmm. Malamud the D-bag. Kyle's varsity bro dude friend. And he is a total tool, and I do not like him. My notes are just like, I don't like this tool! What a tool! What a tool! That's all my notes.
Not only is he, like, being gross and misogynistic, he also, like, goes up to Kyle and is like, oh, you're still doing this Hinduism thing? Yeah. When it, like, the book says Buddhism. It says Buddha.
Right on it. Yeah. I don't like him.
Like, I know the teachers in Roswell aren't that great. And, like, you know, sometimes they're just, like, actually undercover FBI agents or just, like, focused way too much on exposition of the story of what's going on in the teenagers' lives. But I would think that he would know the difference between Hinduism and Buddhism.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. And then we head outside where we witness another prom invite that Max and Liz see and are super awkward about it. And Liz tells Max she bought a prom dress a year ago when they were together and they just had their first kiss. And I mean, I know Liz is like very pragmatic and organized, but like...
But this seems not pragmatic.
My friend, that's a little intense to have bought your prom dress a year ago. Fashions change. You don't know if you're going to want to wear that prom dress a year later.
Fashions change. Your body can change. Yeah. Like, yeah, I get that she's like organized, but it doesn't seem necessarily pragmatic or like practical.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, for my senior prom, I had already bought a dress and then decided that wasn't the dress I wanted to wear and took it back and exchanged it for a different dress. And that's like in a matter of weeks. Like, a year later?
A year? Yeah. I would have like forgotten that I bought one already. Lost it.
Yeah. Shoved in the back of the closet.
And so they decide to go together.
Yeah, they do.
They're like, oh yeah, you know, we can just go to have a good time.
Yeah. It's true. You can just go with your friends, but they are not just friends. They are wounded, like, lovesick puppies.
Yeah.
But this is another scene where I love Sherry's acting. Her face acting is so good.
Like when he starts to talk about remembering things.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, you remember, you know, Michael and Isabel? And she says, and what about Tess?
Yeah.
And he says, her too.
Yeah.
And then she says, that's great.
That's great. But yeah, even leading up to that, just her facial expressions, like really, she's doing a good job of telling the story between her lines, which is, you know, and especially if somebody tuned into just this episode and wasn't familiar with their whole backstory, they were gonna, you know, and somehow missed that exposition at the beginning, they would still know that there's a history there and that this is not an easy situation for her to be in.
Right.
And now it's the next morning and Liz has missed the bus. And I guess this is a city where there's no, like, actual school bus, because it seems like she just was catching the city bus. Because I don't know about y'all, but, like, if I missed my school bus, there's not another one in 30 minutes. I feel like that's a city bus thing. But I also know that there are some cities where there is no school bus. Like, my second high school I went to, there was actually no school buses, but, like, if you were a student, you could get... You
get like a pass.
Yeah, I think you could get a pass for the city bus for free or like super discounted or something, because the actual map of what area the school covered was so small that nothing was very far away. If you were actually, or the district, what the district covered was so small because it wasn't a charter school, but they did have a lot of out of district transfers for their arts programs. Their actual district was very small because they accommodated a lot of out of district students. So they just didn't have school buses.
Right, because it's not like they can bring those school buses to the out of district students.
And the people who were in district lived so close they could walk. But
I wrote, Sean, he is her knight in green patched armor.
I do love his funky little bug, though. It's fun.
Yeah, me too. And it's also, like, part of what I like about Sean, I think, that he's, like, there's nothing, like, fancy. He's, like, a down-to-earth, just kind of, like, you know, he doesn't have a fancy car. It's not really about the way it looks. It's, like, he has a car, and that's great. Like, not everybody has the ability to pick people up and give them rides to... almost school.
Yeah. To almost school.
I like it's like utilitarian and
I mean, I think that car is more fun than the Jetta that Maria and her mom drive.
So yeah, I like that car.
This scene makes me wonder again, what did Sean actually do to get landed in juvie that he's also now not allowed to be near the school? Did he do some major prank or vandalism at the school that like was somehow like unsafe to people, you know, more than just like standard vandalism?
Yeah, because the only other thing that would make you like not able to be near a school is like horrible things. You know, so I'm thinking, it's like he stole something from the school or vandalized or like, something.
Yeah, or called in a bomb threat or, you know, it could have even been some sort of stupid prank like that or...
Yeah, but I don't think it was like hurting anybody.
Yeah, but even if it could have like potentially hurt or gave the impression of potential hurt, like a bomb threat, like you could get in pretty big trouble for that, I feel like.
I have so many feelings about this scene, this conversation.
Yeah.
First of all, like...
I have a lot too.
I don't know why he's just like apologizing to her. Like, sorry that I kissed you.
Yeah. That I misread the signs. I mean...
Right, but how does he know? How does he know to apologize?
Yeah.
Because, like, from his perspective, it could just be like, I leaned in and I kissed her and she kissed me back. Yeah. Great. Unless Maria was like, how dare you kiss Liz, you know? And then he would be like, I'm sorry, you know? But just like, you know, kind of what sparked him to...
Apologize. Yeah, feel the need to apologize. Unless, I mean, he saw her crying afterwards.
Unless he saw her face. Yeah. True. But it seemed like she was, like, you know, hiding her face from him.
Yeah.
Also, why did he offer her a ride to school when he can't give her a ride to school?
Yeah.
I mean, 2 blocks away, still a lot closer, but also, no, 3 more things I want to say about this scene, and then you can. When he said, when he kissed her was the first time I've ever felt at home in this town. So melodramatic, and that is exactly her type. So there should not be a problem there. What is a problem is when he said, I don't feed off another man's taco platter. That was a problem.
I don't like it.
That was a big, big problem for me.
Yeah, me too.
For many reasons.
Yeah.
It's like, excuse me, taco, like, we don't need that imagery. Also, what she's his belonging, like food?
Yeah.
Please.
Don't like it.
And then also, I found it just... Sherry Appleby's delivery of Liz's, like, defense of Max. He's an incredibly, incredibly honorable guy.
This is not one of her finer acting moments. There are a lot of moments that I love of her acting in this episode, and that is not one of them.
So that's all I have to say about the scene. LaRena, what would you like to say?
That's basically you hit all of my points. I'm not here for the taco platter illusion. I also don't like this jacket that Liz is in this scene. She's worn it in a bunch of episodes now, and I'm not into it.
It's like a grandma jacket.
Yeah.
But not in a good way.
Yeah, it's like tapestry bag material. Yeah. Or, I mean, I guess I could just say tapestry material, which is what, like, bags are made out of, and also, like, tapestries.
And tapestry jackets.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's upholstery is what it is, for sure.
Anyway, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's pretty awful, and I'm glad that you brought it up.
Yeah, she's worn it in multiple episodes now, and I don't think that I have mentioned how much I dislike it. And every time I see it, I'm like, again? Again with this ugly jacket?
Yeah. I thought we had seen it before.
We have.
Let's be done with this scene, shall we?
So we head back to the lockers, and we head back to Maria and Michael again. And I do just love Maria's little sassy way of, like, taking control of the situation. Like, I know we fought yesterday, but, like, I'm gonna do you a solid, bro. And, like, you can take me out to dinner. I think it's really big of me. Like,
yeah.
Like, I know we fought, and it was all your fault, but, like... I'll forget. Like, I'm forgiving you. Look how nice I am.
It's like, sure, okay, I'll forgive you. When, like, he never asked for forgiveness. Yeah. But she just, like...
And he probably doesn't think he needs forgiveness. He probably thinks that the argument was her fault because she's so unreasonable or whatever, you know? Like... But I just love Maria's, like, sassy little way.
And it just, you know, it kind of is sad, like, her being sassy, but also, like, you know, part of what makes someone feel comfortable to be sassy like this is feeling confident in the relationship. Yeah. That, like, she can be, like, jokingly, like, okay, I'll forgive you, take me out to eat. Yeah. You know? And so it kind of is hard to see.
Yeah. For all the fighting they have, she's very confident in the relationship and that he does really love her because he shows it repeatedly that he does actually love her.
For sure.
Even if he doesn't say it.
But so that made it, you know, kind of hard to watch of, like, her being so confident and, like, I know we fought, but blah, 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 you still love me. And he's like, I can't, I have plans. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.
You know? And of course, like, we know later on, like, it was actually all, you know, for her, but it's hard to watch.
Yeah. You know what else is hard to watch? Isabel fishing for Alex to invite her to the prom. Just, like,
after breaking his heart last year.
Like, let me put this bait over you. Are you gonna am I gonna get a catch? Maybe,
it's like, please? Putting the bait over him / like, shoving, like, slapping his face with that worm, you know?
Take the bait! Take the bait!
It's just, like, it's not fair.
No,
She broke his heart.
Yeah.
He, like, finally was happy, like, met someone else, moved on, and now she's like, take me.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of him.
Yes!
I am so proud of him for being direct, totally reasonable and respectful in the way that he delivered the information, but, like, direct and strong, being like, no, I'm not going to do that.
Yeah, love it. Yeah. Alex never ceases to amaze in his loveliness.
He's the best.
And then we head to Kyle's room, Tess's room, whoever's room it is, the Valenti household.
I think it's Tess's room. That's what I wrote.
I mean,
anyway.
Well, it's Tess's room now. But we know that Kyle is letting Tess stay in his room, and he's been living, I guess, in the living room, sleeping on the couch.
I see.
And there's a little detail that I loved. And that's when they flash over to the door, because he's coming in, you see crutches leaned behind the door. Because Kyle broke his leg in the first season, and the crutches are still sitting in the corner of the room. And this is where I say, good on the set dressing crew.
I just must applaud because
it was such a good little detail.
For all the shit we give them, especially when it comes to the Valenti house, for, like, lack of consistency, like, this is pretty great.
Yeah. And I do think their consistency in the Valenti house has gotten better this season, but season 1, it was really all over the map. It was like, oh, we're never going to go to their house again. Like, whoops, we went to their house again. Let's make a new set. Like, I feel like it has become a more consistent set on the lot this season, and you know, a permanent place that they have kept. But yeah, I liked seeing that little detail because I was like, oh yeah, Kyle did. Because at first I was like, are those crutches? Why are there crutches? That's a weird detail. Oh yeah, Kyle broke his leg in season 1 for like an episode.
Which, take it from someone who has had a broken leg, doesn't just last for an episode.
Yeah, no.
Broken, and I've had a broken arm too.
Also not just an episode.
A broken leg is no joke.
Yeah.
So, anyway, Trudy McIntyre, huh?
She's cute, hot,
She's
whatever
cute.
Tess says.
Yeah, she's cute. It's like, oh, great. Add another one to the list with Vicky Delaney.
Yeah.
Our poor baby girl, Vicky.
Poor Vicky. Ugh.
Let's just take a moment. Must have been a man who wrote your part. I hope Kyle didn't break your heart. Vicky Delaney, we won't forget you.
But Kyle doesn't want to take Trudy to prom this year, or Vicky Delaney. He wants to take Tess. Aww.
Yeah. And it's sweet. His reasoning is sweet.
Yeah.
It's like, because he knows her and, you know, would have a good time with her.
And Tess does not look like she's really that excited about it, but she says yes anyway.
Yeah. And I mean, I feel like there could be 2 reasons for her not being excited about it, one of which we kind of see later of her being like, yeah, I don't care about this stuff.
Yeah.
This stuff doesn't matter. And then also would be the other one being like that she was hoping Max would ask her.
Which he does not.
Nope. So Maria.
Maria.
I know. Back to her old ways of like snooping.
Oh, yeah. She convinces Liz to join her in breaking in Michael's house to try and find out if he's got a woman on the side. And, you know, uses that old spy pencil rubbing technique to, like, find some notes on a notepad that's conveniently by the phone. And, of course, it would be the name of a woman and an address, I believe, right?
Yep. Juanita. Of all names.
Yeah. I mean, what kind of...
Like, oh, now is when they choose to acknowledge the presence of Latinos in Roswell.
When it could be, you know, the other woman.
A home wrecker, as Maria puts it.
I mean, I hope it's because she's like a fierce Latin ballroom dancer.
Yeah, no, I think that's why. I don't think that they're like purposely like, oh, let's make sure
Yeah.
let's make sure to paint Latinos in a bad light.
Maybe Michael just has a type.
Oh.
Oh, yeah. Sassy Latina women. I mean, Maria's definitely sassy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we don't... I think Juanita's a little sassy, too, because he later says that she told him he's unteachable. Which is a little bit, a little sassy. But yeah, so they head off to that address they find, and they see Michael in Juanita's house, and, you know, that ain't good.
In each other's arms.
Yep.
And Liz is just going on and on about her own problems.
Yep. Yes, she is.
As they are staking out this house, and, like, is talking about her own problems as Maria is seeing, like, her boyfriend in the arms of another woman.
Yeah. I feel like this is something we see a lot in TV shows where, like, the protagonist is really not always that great of a friend. Mm-hmm. Like, the main person is, like, really kind of caught up in their own life and not the best friend when your friend really needs it.
Totally. You do see that a lot. And especially with teenage, like, characters
where
like this, which makes sense. You know, like, teenagers are figuring out their own shit and how to, like, take care of their own shit while also being there for other people. Mm-hmm. So this is when we're back, what is it, in Max's room with Tess and Max and
working on his memories.
He brings it up to her.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't care about prom.
Yeah. He's not concentrating. He's not focused. He's being pulled in two directions by both of his ladies. And, you know, I do like, though, that he's not, I mean, he doesn't try and hide from her that he's going to prom with Liz. Like, he is, she's like, you're distracted. And he's like, yeah, I am. This is what's going on. I do appreciate that about Max, that he doesn't try and be secretive about it, because we all know that would not go well either.
Right. Yeah, no, it was definitely a good call for him to just be, like, upfront about it with her.
Mm-hmm. And then we head back to Maria's car, which is where Mahandra has her Oscar-winning performance of the episode, with her breakdown and upset over Michael. And it's just more really good acting. She's so distraught.
I also like the writing a little because, she's like, why? And she's like, she really is. I mean, she's like heartbroken, devastated. And then it's like, I wish I wasn't so smart. She's like, I wish I never found out. I wish I wasn't so smart.
Yeah.
And I love that. Because it's so true to Maria. Like, she's being funny while also having these big feelings.
Yeah. And then, and I think it's important to note here that she wants Liz to go ask Max about what Michael is up to, because we need a setup for Liz to randomly show up at Max's house when they are not together and they're not dating and they're trying to just be friends, for her to show up at his house at night and witness him hanging out with Tess, which also they are very dramatic about Jell-O in this scene. So dramatic.
I thought it was so weird because he's like, the way he says, he's like Jell-O, I remember.
Yeah.
When it was like a second before, she was like, it's not quite liquid, but not quite solid. It feels like, and it's like,
Jell-O.
well, yeah, anybody could have guessed Jell-O. It's like he says Jell-O and she's like, oh, you do remember. But it's like, but you were just describing like
you literally
Jell-O.
just led him in that direction.
Yeah.
Ugh. Yeah.
But also, I don't know why it's like such a big thing that Liz is like sees them together when it's like, that they've been spending time together because she's been helping him remember.
Yeah.
Like he told you that.
I guess it doesn't make it any less painful though to see it with your own eyes, even if you know and have been kind of like avoiding that topic mentally. Now when it's literally in front of your eyes, it's harder to pretend.
And to see them like sitting there together, like on his bed, in his
hugging,
bedroom. Yeah. Yeah, I hear that.
I meant to look up what ubiquitous meant, but I forgot. Do you know what it means, or should I look it up now?
Ubiquitous means like kind of like omnipresent. It's like everywhere.
Okay, got it. All right.
So it makes sense when she's like, Sean, you're so ubiquitous. Yeah, because like he just keeps showing up.
Cool.
It's not necessarily the way I would use the word, but I get what she was getting at.
Yeah. So Liz, accuses Sean of being ubiquitous.
Right?
Yeah.
And this is what I wrote again. What did Sean do wrong? Stop being so mean to him. She's yelling at him. I love him.
Other than just like be in the town where he lives.
Yeah. And he's so patient with her.
He is very patient with her.
And like she doesn't deserve his patience, but it's nice of him.
And he's, very sweet because she literally has a meltdown and like yells at him and is crying and he's just like, you want to go somewhere? Like, I got you.
And takes her on, like, the best date.
Yes.
How fun does that look?
Private bowling.
Especially a pandemic date. That would be a great one.
Yeah.
Nobody else in the place.
That'd be awesome.
You could even have, like, a distanced pandemic date where you're each bowling on a separate
and you could just talk
lane,
to each other and get to know each other from 3 lanes away. That's a great idea. I wonder if anyone's done that.
You just have to rent out a whole place, which these days probably not so much money because places just want people to come in.
Yeah.
So I was a little confused about Sean's theory. He's like, I have this theory. I figured you out. And I didn't really get, he's like, if we're so different, why do I feel so much every time I look at you?
Opposites attract.
I was like, that's not a theory.
Yeah, it's
because you like her.
Yeah.
But then like between that and you're suffocating, we both are. What did he say between that? Like, what was he talking about?
I don't know.
Because that's all I got was, like, him, like, the beginning like that, and then the end of, like, you're suffocating. We both are.
I think he says you both are, talking about her and Max.
Oh, I think you're right. I wrote we, but that makes more sense. You both are.
Because later Liz uses basically the same words with Max.
Right. No, that's why it's like, okay, but this is necessary to point out.
Yeah, he like goes on and on about a lot of stuff here. But, even if she doesn't want to hear it, it is true. And I think she takes some of that to note because all of a sudden she's an amazing bowler. She stops throwing gutter balls and gets a strike because he is right on the money. They are both suffocating.
Yep. At the same time, like, he just had this whole declaration and, like, put himself out there and she just, like, turns around and bowls. She doesn't even really respond. And he goes and slides on the lane, which I've never done and I would love to do.
It looks so fun.
It looks so fun. And what I love the most is, because, he's like, come slide with me. She's like, oh, I don't want to. So he goes and slides and then turns back to her and smiles at her as if to say, like, come on. Mm-hmm. And that smile right then is like, I could marry the guy. So cute. I love Sean DeLuca. Did I have I mentioned that?
Just once or twice. And then we have just a quick little scene in Max's room with Max and Tess, and he's frustrated. He's not remembering what he wants to. Blah, 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 boo-hoo-hoo. Let's go to Alex's room instead.
Yeah, good plan. Alex is, just being a little musician dude.
Just strumming away. Is he playing a bass or a regular guitar? I didn't quite catch.
I don't know.
Yeah, hard to tell.
It's definitely a bass line that he is playing, but I'm not sure that was a bass.
Yeah. That's kind of where I was at, too. I was like, it's definitely a low bass strum, but he could be doing that on a regular guitar.
Yeah. I would have to go back, but, like, thinking about it, I feel like he was playing a bass line on an acoustic guitar.
Probably.
And, a creepy knock on the window.
Yeah. Late at night. Why doesn't anybody knock on front doors here in Roswell?
Because then you would have to...
talk to the parents.
First of all, acknowledge that parents exist. Yeah. And second of all... you would need more of a set than just a bedroom.
But, when have we ever seen Alex's room before? He could have just been sitting in a living room and answered the door, and parents need not even be in the scene. You could hear dishwater running in the other room and problem solved.
Or just, not have parents there at all, because,
they could be on a date night, whatever.
That's just a normal thing on this show.
Yeah.
So it turns out Isabel's graduating early.
Yeah.
Out of nowhere, suddenly this is a thing.
Yeah.
And seems to be using it as a way to convince him to say yes
to prom,
to what he already said no to.
Mm-hmm.
Trying to guilt him into asking her.
Oh, she is absolutely trying to guilt him.
I'm so mad at her for this.
Yeah.
He already said no, and it wasn't easy for him. I'm sure it wasn't. The girl of his dreams wants you to take, wants him to take her to prom.
Yeah.
Ugh. So, was hard enough to say no the first time. He didn't say no the second time.
No, he didn't.
Fair. I can't blame him.
Yeah, I don't blame him either.
She's Isabel Evans, for goodness sake.
And he's also just the nicest guy. And he, aside from having had a crush on her, and her blowing him off, he's just so nice. And she's, pleading with him, basically.
But just, it's so presumptuous, for her to think that, there's no one else he might be wanting to ask.
Yep.
Or maybe someone else who wants him to ask them.
Yeah.
Somebody who, actually values Alex.
Don't be silly.
I mean, well, it's not that she doesn't value him. She does value him.
But yeah, her assumption that nobody else would place value on him because he's just a nerd. And that he wouldn't already have plans lined up because he's just nerdy Alex.
And, I didn't even bring this up, that, in the, the library when they first had the conversation this episode, the way she started it was oh, I think Brian blah, 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 blah is going to ask me to prom. When it's he wasn't even. No. She didn't actually think he was going to. He already had plans with someone else. It was, such a shitty way of being you should ask me, by being well, someone else is going to ask me before you do, So
you better get your shit together and ask me. If you've just been shy about asking me, I'd say yes.
You know what, dear listeners? You don't have to be a cis boy to ask someone to prom. If she wanted to go to prom with him, she should have just asked him to prom.
Yep, agreed. But fast forward to prom night, pre-prom party?
Yeah. At first I was oh God, is the prom at the crash down?
How weird.
But then, oh yeah, no, wait, right.
I love Maria's prom look so much.
Oh my God.
I love her floral crown.
Hippie, boho,
yes.
I don't know. The floral crown, the hair, the dress. It's amazing.
Yeah.
So also something that really caught my eye was Kyle's vest. Vest? Is that what, just the vest part of the suit?
Yeah.
Oh my God. I don't even know how to describe it. Just this
weird shiny pattern.
Interesting shiny pattern. Yeah. Where did you get this? The local thrift store?
I mean, probably from the Tux Tux rental place. Probably convinced him it was a good idea for some reason.
And Jim and Amy. Yes. It's good that we got to see just a little split second of oh yeah, this is still happening.
This is still a thing. And I love Kyle and Maria just sort of commiserating about all the places they've caught their parents making out.
Yeah, and that it kind of, flips the script as if it's parents talking about their teenage kids being oh, the hormones.
Yeah, I thought that was a really cute little moment.
Definitely. And this is when Kyle first mentions, like, you know, Tess is hot, but for some reason I'm resistant. And he, like, still isn't quite sure why.
Mm-hmm. He hasn't quite realized yet that she's family, you know?
Which I love. I love that whole storyline thing.
And Max and Liz re-enter the Crashdown at the same exact moment. And our beautiful musical interlude love theme of star-crossed lovers plays. And it's that same music. It's their music.
I also mentioned, like, the musical cue, the like, Max and Liz love theme. The emotional guitar music.
Oh. And Mama DeLuca wants to get some pictures of everybody before prom. Like, I remember that feeling. Like, you just want to, like, have your dinner and do your thing. And, like, you know, some grown-ups trying to take pictures and get everybody together. And it's like, Mom, stop it.
But now, all, like, however many years later, and we're probably all, like, grateful for those grown-ups for being like, no, get together, take this picture.
Mm-hmm. Very true. And then she makes Sean take the picture and he looks so bummed.
Which, like, is sad, but also makes sense, you know?
I mean, he's the one sitting there that's not going to prom.
The outsider, yeah. And this is... Actually, I am not sure. There may have been laughs before this. I wasn't watching that carefully. But this is the first laugh that I noted.
I don't remember any.
And I also noted that it seems that every time there's a big group picture, they laugh. Like in the, in the fancy dinner club and in Las Vegas also.
Yeah. And then we get the return of the Liz voiceover from her journal. And she has this strange premonition that this is the last time we would all be standing together. And I'm just going to leave that at that.
It's like so daunting and serious, but okay. Guess we'll have to just, like, put a pin in that and, like, remember it.
Yeah.
And then they go to prom.
Woo, prom!
It's like, oh, here's this, like, horrible thing that I just said, but prom! Let's forget about that.
And, like, I feel like prom is supposed to be taking place in the gym because, like, at the beginning, there's, like, some flooring that looks like it's supposed to be a basketball court. But here's what I have to say about that. The ceiling is way too low to be a gym with a basketball court.
Oh,
the
good
ceiling
point.
is like an 8 or 9 foot ceiling. Those balloons are like right over their heads sitting on the ceiling.
Yeah.
Where is this prom? I mean, obviously it's supposed to be in the gym because later we have scenes in the school hallway with the locker rooms and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
So, douchey Malamud is saying misogynistic things again. And this is when Kyle finally realizes where his resistance came from when he's like, hey, don't talk about my sister like that.
And it's like, oh, what? Shit.
And it's like,
I just came to prom with my sister.
And who is actually surprised by that? Because, like,
Nobody.
I wasn't. I mean, especially, like, with the way it all went down last episode when Jim came to get them. When it was like he yelled at Tess like she was another kid of his, you know? It's like, she's family. And I love it.
Yeah. And Alex warns Isabel not to be any more beguiling. And, I mean, she's about to get more beguiling in a couple of scenes here.
Yeah, because she doesn't fucking listen to him.
Nope. And then, Liz and Max, so awkward.
Yep.
And more good Liz acting. She's so... This whole scene just... Meh. Yeah. I mean, not because the acting is bad, just...
Oh, no, the acting's great.
Yeah, so it's hard to watch because the acting is great, because Liz is finally realizing that she needs to stop pretending, that she needs him to stop pretending, that they cannot be together. If he is going to continue things with Tess and try and remember his past and work towards a future of going to that planet, they cannot be together.
And she is really trying to convince both of them. She's talking to him as if she's trying to convince him to let go, but it's really, I mean, she's trying to convince both of them that they need to move on and let go. Yeah. And, has that callback to what Sean said and says, it feels like I'm suffocating.
Oh, poor Liz.
And then the return of our favorite secret hideaway, the Eraser Room. Woo,
Welcome
woo,
back,
woo.
Eraser Room. We've missed you.
We have missed you so
much. And Kyle
much.
has led Tess to the Eraser Room. But it's to tell her that he thinks of her as family. And Tess is clearly so relieved, but also, feels like she needs to gently let him down where, like, he let him think that she did like him as more than brother, but she'll just have to learn how to deal with it.
Yeah, she's like, I'm disappointed, but
I understand.
And he laughs a little bit. And then, something we forgot to mention was when Liz and Max were on the dance floor, at the end of their conversation, you know, Liz saw Maria kind of standing by herself and was like, oh, Maria, you know, we need to be with her. And then when we go back in, Maria and Liz are like dancing their butts off, having a great time. And so that is really great to see.
I love seeing, just as friends embracing their friendship, and they don't need the men to have fun. They can have fun on their own because they're our best friends.
Yeah. Until
a
very slick looking Michael walks in. He cleans up nice.
A very hottie McHot, black shirt on black suit. Michael walks in. 00 Michael. Yeah.
And, you know, Maria's like, no, I'm having fun. But Liz's like, no, you need to go talk to him. She's like, I followed you to your love pod. And he says, you thought it was some chick I was boffing? Like, who wrote this?
What are these words? Love pod, boffing?
Boffing?
Like,
and she laughs during this conversation, and it becomes clear that, you know, he was not cheating. Quite the opposite.
He hired a dance teacher. It's so sweet. He's just a big secret teddy bear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love him.
And Juanita deemed him unteachable. So if...
But at risk of personal injury, would you like to dance?
And now Max has wandered out of the dance because he's all bummed that, you know, Liz was finally honest with him, and he has to come to terms with that. And...
But wasn't he the one this whole time being like, we can't be together, and she wanted to be?
It's been so back and forth. I, like, can't keep track.
Because I feel like for a while it was like, she was like, no, and he was like, but please.
Yeah.
And then...
It's...
And then the Future Max thing happened.
And then she's still like, no.
She broke his heart, and then she wanted to be with him, but he's like, no, because you broke my heart.
It's just been so back and forth. Yeah. Will they, won't
but
they?
It's not a bad call to be like, we should move on.
I mean, they've been through a lot emotionally. And at the end of the day, he wants to return to his home planet and be the king, where Tess is his queen and where Liz cannot go, assumably.
Right.
She does not have the right molecular makeup to be able to survive on another planet. Right. So, yeah. He's thinking it over.
What is not cool, though, is that he is talking to Tess about, like, being upset about Liz and him being over.
Yeah.
I think on his part, Tess obviously has feelings for him, you know? So, like, don't talk to somebody who has feelings for you.
About the other girl that you have feelings for.
About being sad about another relationship ending. Yeah. And then also, on her part, like, she is, like, kind of taking advantage of him in his sad time.
Yeah.
So, just all around shitty behavior.
Mm-hmm. And some more behavior that we don't love to see is... Isabel kissing Alex. I mean, I wanna, like, my little teenage heart wants to squee, like, that it's,
I know.
That he is finally getting the girl, but this whole episode, he's been asking her to give him space still, even when he then relents and agrees to take her to prom. He still has, you know, sort of jokingly, but was like, I need you to cool it. Like, we're here together, but, like, and you look beautiful, and I'm going to say you look beautiful because it's true, but we're just here as friends. And then she goes in for the kill.
Yeah, and I feel like she even says something acknowledging that she's, like, not supposed to.
She does.
Like, I know you don't want me to do this, but, hey, if somebody doesn't want you to kiss them, don't kiss them.
Don't kiss them.
Right? Consent is important for many reasons. There are many reasons people don't give consent. Right? And, like, it's not always because, like, they aren't into you and don't want to kiss you. Like, he is into her. Obviously, he wants to kiss her, but he doesn't want to, you know, to protect himself.
Yeah.
So, fuck you, Isabel. And, you know, I do not say those words lightly because I fucking love Isabel Evans, but, like, I'm mad.
Yeah.
I'm mad at her.
And now everyone is coupled back up. Except for Liz, is sitting there by herself watching Alex and Izzy together, watching Michael and Maria together, and then she wanders out into the hallway and sees Max and Tess kissing.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
Which, like, has got to hurt. I do get that. To be fair, she did just say that they need to move on and let go.
But yeah, literally like 2 minutes later, he has moved on and let go and is kissing somebody else. Like, that's not what you want to see.
Also, it annoyed me because, you know, they're talking about, like, he's like, I remembered our first kiss. And Tess is like, yeah, and I leaned in and I whispered in your ear. What did she whisper in his ear?
Doesn't matter.
What did she whisper? I want to know.
Maybe she whispered, kiss me. Maybe she whispered, let's go get burgers.
What all men want to hear.
Let's go swimming in Jell-O.
Oh my God, I would love to swim in Jell-O.
I would totes swim in Jell-O. If I ever had the opportunity, 10 out of 10 would do.
Absolutely.
Liz takes off to the bowling alley to go follow up with Sean, now that she's really had her heart broken by Max, even though she just told him that they shouldn't be together and that he's suffocating her. I mean, like you said, Aliza, though, she still doesn't want to see him kissing somebody else after, like, 2 minutes.
Right. Feelings are not black and white. You know, like, it's, of course, she can feel, you know, she can feel however she needs to feel. What she can't do, in my opinion, is fuck with Sean DeLuca.
But she is. She is definitely.
Because it's not about Sean, it's about Max. And she goes like she's
running
like,
to Sean.
I've chosen you. And it's like, no, you just, you know, are coming over to him because you saw Max kissing someone else.
And where else would Sean be but at the bowling alley, of course, I guess.
Just waiting for her, just at the bowling alley.
Just hanging out.
Waiting for her all the time.
And she's just going to bury her pain with a new guy. But, I mean, plenty of people do that in real life, too.
Yep.
And we get a nice little, you know, some more little journaling narrative. We can't tell our hearts what to feel. Very true. Very true, Liz. And she dances away down the bowling lanes.
It's cute.
And then this made me realize, I was like, oh, at the beginning, I thought she was, like, having sort of a dream sequence of, like, dancing on a stage or something, and I didn't quite get it. But then at the end, you're like, oh, she's on the bowling lanes. This makes
bowling
sense.
alley.
We have come full circle.
Yeah.
We have heard the story of Prom.
I am glad the episode's over because I don't love this one. It has me mad at Liz. It has me mad at Isabel. I'm just...
Yeah.
I do like that there was so much kissing.
There is a lot of kissing. There's a lot of good face acting. There are things to love about rewatching this episode.
Definitely. That one smile Sean gives her.
Yeah. Speaking of things to love, do you have thoughts for hot and saucy?
Now let's see who's hot and saucy.
Yeah, I mean, my only thought, and because I feel like I have to, because I have to pick it, it's always hot for somebody to value themselves and know their worth. And it is a little saucy to be like, you know, I used to want you, but you know what? Now, what Alex said. When Alex, you know,
I got you.
It's like, how do I say this? That can't have been an easy thing to do. And it was hot and it was saucy.
Nice. My hot moment is Mr. Formerly Spiky Hair showing up at prom in the black shirt with the black suit and exposing his gooey inside with that he took dance lessons for Maria because he knew that it was important to her. And that even though he's terrible at it, he has shown up anyway and is ready to dance. That's my hot moment, my hot take.
That is a good one. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back in 2 weeks on Tuesday, June 1st with Season 2, Episode 17, Cry Your Name.
You can always find us on all of the things. We are on Twitter and Instagram at Roswell Hot Sauce. We are on Facebook at facebook.com/Roswell Hot Sauce. You can shoot us an email at, you guessed it, roswellhotsauce@gmail.com, and our website where you can find bios about us as well as show notes and information and all that good stuff, roswellhotsauce.com.
Pass the Hot Sauce is produced and edited by Ashley Hullett. Our theme music is by David Belcourt, and our logo was designed by Billy Murray.
Until next time.
Transient, fleeting, and permanent, I know what ephemeral means, Maxwell. It's my life.